بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وبه نستعين على أمور الدنيا والدين وصلى الله وسلم على سيدنا محمد خاتم النبيين وآله وصحبه أجمعين ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. We will be doing, welcome back. We took off the Tafseer class from last week, or we didn't do the Tafseer class last week as we had another class that we did here explaining the Aqeedah of Imam al-Bukhari, and we wanted to finish that, so we finished that last week, alhamdulillah, and we returned back to this week, the Tafseer class from the Tafseer of our Shaykh Muhammad Al-Ameen Al-Hararee, Hafidhullah wa ra'ahu wa shifahullah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Our Shaykh, may Allah preserve him, is sick at the moment. Wa alaykum salam wa rahmatullah. The Shaykh, Hafidhullah ta'ala, shifahullah kamilan, is sick at the moment. He was in intensive care, and alhamdulillah his condition stabilized. He's not in intensive care anymore, but he still remains in the hospital. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to heal him and allow him to stay with us and to continue to benefit the Muslims. Ameen. And we start with today the tafsir of the ayah 256 from Surah Al-Baqarah. Ayah 256 from Surah Al-Baqarah. The ayah that starts, أَيَوَدُّ أَحَدُكُمْ أَن تَكُونَ لَهُ جَنَّةٌ مِّن نَخِيلٍ وَأَعْنَابٍ تَجْرِي مِن تَحْتِهَا الْأَنْهَارُ له فيها من كل الثمرات وأصابه الكبر وله ذرية ضعفاء فأصابها إعصار فيه نار فاحترقت كذلك يبين الله لكم الآيات لعلكم تتفكرون يا أيها الذين آمنوا أنفقوا من طيبات ما كسبتم ومما أخرجنا لكم من الأرض ولا تيمموا الخبيث منه تنفقون ولستم بآخذيه إلا أن تغمضوا فيه واعلموا أن الله غني حميد الشيطان يعدكم الفقر ويأمركم بالفحشاء والله يعدكم مغفرة منه وفضلا والله واسع عليم يؤتي الحكمة من يشاء ومن يؤت الحكمة فقد أوتي خيرا كثيرا وما يذكر إلا أولو الألباب. The ayah starts, would any of you love, would one of you love to have a garden that's filled with grapes, that's filled with date palm trees, and beneath this garden there's rivers that are flowing. And this garden belongs to somebody, له فيها من كل الثمرات. And the one who this garden belongs to, in it is every type of fruit that you can imagine. وَأَصَابَهُ الْكِبَرُ وَلَهُ ذُرِّيَّةٌ ضُعَفَاء. And when this person had this garden, he became afflicted with old age. And he had weak young children. فَأَصَابَهَا إِعْصَارٌ. And this garden was afflicted, or was torn apart by a tornado. Inside this tornado, there also was a fire that burned down this garden. Like this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes clear to you his signs so that you might ponder over them. You might reflect and think about his signs. O you who believe, spend from that which is good of which you earn, and from that which we have brought out for you from the earth. وَمِمَّا أَخْرَجْنَا لَكُم مِّنَ الْأَرْضِ. Those things that we have brought out for you from the earth. And don't intend to spend that which is foul, that which is not good, from which you have earned, from which you spend, that which you wouldn't even want to take yourself, except that you had to take it with your eyes closed, by closing your eyes to accept it. Know that Allah is Ghani, and He is Hamid. He is free from need of any and everyone, and He is the one who is praised in every situation. الشيطان يعدكم الفقر ويأمركم بالفحشاء. The shaitan, he promises or threatens you with poverty. And he commands you to do that which is evil, meaning to be stingy and not to spend. While Allah promises you forgiveness from him and a bounty. Allah is vast in his forgiveness and his provision, and he is all-knowing of that which you intend and what you try to do. يُؤْتِ الْحِكْمَةَ مَنْ يَشَاءُ. He gives wisdom to whoever he wills, and whoever is given wisdom, he's been given a great amount of good. وَمَا يَذَّكَّرُ. And no one understands or reflects upon that except for the ones who have intellect. So we go back now to this ayah. The first part of this ayah, it starts off, أَيَوَدُ أَحَدُكُمْ أَن تَكُونَ لَهُ جَنَّةٌ مِّن نَخِيلٍ. One day, Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu ta'ala anhu was sitting with his elder companions. One day, Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu.
I like your hat.
Thank you. One day, Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu was sitting with his elder companions, his council. And he asked them, what do you know about this ayah? أَيَوَدُ أَحَدُكُمْ أَن تَكُونَ لَهُ جَنَّةٌ مِّن نَخِيلٍ. The ayah that we said that Allah says, would one of you want, would one of you like, would one of you desire to have a garden, and this garden is full of grapes and date palm trees, and the one who has this garden, it has every fruit that you can imagine. Whatever fruit you like, mangoes, bananas, whatever you like, it's in this garden. But then you become old, right? And after you become old, you also have young children. Even though you're old, you have young, weak children. Can't do anything. They can't go work in the fields and take care of the garden. Then when you're in this situation, a tornado comes and sets a blaze to your garden and destroys everything. What do you think about this ayah? That's what Umar ibn Khattab asked his companions. He said, what do you think about this? What's your understanding of this ayah? So I'm going to ask you all, what do you think about this ayah? What is this? This is a parable. We call it an example. A parable, meaning Allah is setting forth an example by utilizing something else, but he wants you to understand something from that. He wants you to ponder and think about what's the connection between that happening, this man with a garden, and becoming old and not having any children to help him take care of his garden, and what connection does that have with us in our life as Muslims? What is the similarity between that? What is Allah trying to show us and explain to us through this ayah? What do you think? To share?
Maybe he kept it to himself too much. I don't know. That's what I came tonight.
That seems like it could be plausible. It can be plausible that we should share. Don't store it away. That's a decent understanding of it too.
Like the garden could be our deen.
A what?
Like the garden can be our deen, and like our children will be stronger.
No. But that's possible. It can't happen that if we don't take care of our children, they won't be able to be strong in the deen. That's possible. Nothing lasts forever. That's possible. That's possible. What else? What do you have? What do you say? Nothing? Anybody else? So the story continues that when he was sitting there with this group of people, the young man Ibn Abbas, we all know Ibn Abbas, right? Ibn Abbas was called Tarjuman al-Quran, the explainer of the Quran. Ibn Abbas, he was there, and he said, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen. First, let's go back, right? Umar radiallahu anhu, he said, when he asked his companions this, he said, فِيمَا تَرَوْنَ هَذِهِ الْآيَةِ نَزَلَتْ. What do you consider, or what do you think this ayah was revealed in regards to? They said, Allahu A'lam. Is that the right thing to say? That's right? But Umar, when they said Allahu A'lam, Umar said, Qulu na'lam aw la na'lam. Stop playing with me. That's how Umar was. Umar said, say you know, say we know or we don't know. That's what I want to ask you. Of course Allah knows best. He didn't mean don't say Allahu A'lam, because of course Allahu A'lam is the correct answer if you don't know. But he was telling him, like, listen, either you know or you don't know. Don't be afraid to talk. Because sometimes people are afraid to talk about Umar, perhaps, right? And what Umar was, so Umar said, listen, Kulu na'lam o la na'lam. Say I know or I don't know. Say we know or we don't know. If you don't know, just say we don't know. We don't have, Allah, of course Allah knows best. Do you know or not? No, right? Okay. فقال ابن عباس رضي الله عنه في نفسي منها شيء يا أمير المؤمنين. So Ibn Abbas is a young boy amongst all of these elders. Hey. Ibn Abbas, a young boy amongst all these elders. We're on ayah 256 in Surah Al-Baqarah. أَيَوَدُّ أَحَدُكُمْ أَن تَكُونَ لَهُ جَنَّةٌ مِّن نَخِيلٍ, right? وَعَنَابٍ تَجْرِي مِن تَحْتِهَا الْأَنْهَارُ. So Ibn Abbas is a young boy amongst all these elders, and he says what? Inside of me, there's something about this, Ya Amir al-Mu'minin. I think I know something about this. I got a feeling that I know something about this, right? So Umar radiallahu anhu, he said, Ya ibn akhi, قال وَلَا تَحْكِرْ نَفْسَكَ. Don't belittle yourself. Don't think little about yourself, right? And there's a point here that we're going to mention about later on. That Umar radiallahu anhu, while he was with all of his elders, right? All the elders, Ibn Abbas was there. He said, listen, don't think small about yourself. Don't think that you can't figure it out just because what? You're young in age, right? So Ibn Abbas, he said, I think this is about a person who's rich, a rich man who works doing obedience to Allah. Then Allah sends to him a shaitan. And then he starts to do sinful deeds until he's drowned, until his actions become destroyed due to his sins. So Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, he said, I think, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, that this is about a man who's rich and has some money. And he does good with his money. He does good deeds. But then a shaitan from amongst mankind or the jinn, right? Could send to him a bad friend. He can send to him a shaitan to whisper to him. So he sends to him a shaitan, and then he starts to do sins. And everything he did in the past becomes destroyed because of his sins at the end. Right? Does that make sense? So that was Ibn Abbas' statement. Umar radiallahu anhu in another narration had a statement where he said this is an example of a man who does righteous actions. He does what? Righteous deeds. Then, when he starts to become old in age, where he needs his righteous actions the most, where he needs to be doing righteous actions the most, and he's become older in age, he starts to do sinful deeds. And he dies in that situation. So he had a whole garden, everything saved up of good deeds that he did, and he became foolish later on. He changed, his situation changed from being a situation of good to being a situation of evil. And he died in a situation where he needed the good deeds more than ever. He needed to be doing good deeds more than ever, and instead he was doing sinful actions. So that's two understandings of this, and we're going to go back to this while we explain it later. That's just first what we're talking about right now. We're dealing with the what? Asbab al-Nuzul. Why was this ayat revealed? So two opinions we have so far, one from Ibn Abbas, one from Umar. Ibn Abbas said it, similar thing in reality, that it's a rich person he was doing good deeds and started doing bad deeds. Umar, he made it more general, as a person who was doing good actions, and then after a while he started doing bad actions when he became older in age, when he needed them the most. Two reasons was revealed. But what I want to highlight for us is one thing that Umar radiallahu anhu said. When he said to Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, "La tahkir nafsak." Don't belittle yourself. Don't think that you can't figure it out. Ibn Hajar rahimahullah ta'ala, he says in Fath al-Bari, وفي ذلك تحريض العالم تلميذه على القول بحضرة من هو أسن منه إذا عرف فيه الأهلية لما فيه من تنشيطه وبسط نفسه وترغيبه في العلم. That in here is an encouragement for the teacher, for the scholar, to prompt, right, his students that might be young, right? We have young students, some of them, right? It prompts them, that even though they might be young, to speak and say what they feel about the knowledge that they have or what they understand from something, even though there might be some elders amongst them, right? If that scholar knows from that student that they are someone who's energetic, that is eager and is seeking after knowledge, right? You want to give them some play. And it shows that in Islam, we don't belittle our youth, right? We don't say just because you're too young, you don't know. Or just because you're too young, you shouldn't be given an opportunity to lead. No. If you know and you look to be suitable, you have to have some ahliyah. You have to be suitable and able to do it. If you have that ability, then we don't belittle you because you're young. We don't say, no, they're too young, when that person might know better than the one who's older. As we see that Umar did with Ibn Abbas, radiallahu ta'ala anhuma. So we say for this again, that young people should not think that just because I'm young, I have time to be foolish. Right? Just because I'm young, I have time to play around and be a fool. That shouldn't be your objective in life, that I'm young today and, people are going to say it's okay because I'm young. No. Behave as you want to be seen when you're older. Because people are going to remember you about how you were. They're going to say, she was an idiot when she was young, right? She was a fool. It's hard to change what people think about you. So behave today how you want to be remembered tomorrow, right? Ibn Abbas, he set the standard for us young people, right? How we should behave, how we should be, how we should interact, even amongst the sittings of our elders. Now, as far as the next ayah, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu anfiqu min tayyibati ma kasabtum, it was recorded in the Tirmidhi, with Jami' al-Tirmidhi, with Ibn Majah, wa ghayruhum, that Bara' ibn Azib, radiallahu anhu, he said this ayah was revealed, Nazarat hadith ayah fina. He said this ayah was revealed in regards to us, a group from amongst the Ansar. That we were a people who used to have date palm trees. And men from amongst us would bring some of their dates to hang in front of the masjid so that the people can eat from them, right? That's what he said we used to do. He said, but some of us will bring dates that are not right, that are bad quality. They're not good to eat or to give. So this ayah was revealed in regards to us. Oh, you who believe, spend from that which is good of what you earn. Don't bring the bad quality dates and you know that, nobody wants to eat it. You don't even want to eat it. You bring to give out sadaqah, the dates that you know you can't sell. You say, I want to give this in sadaqah. Mashallah, this is my sadaqah. And you want to give it to the poor people when you know you can't sell it. That's the only reason that you're willing to give it up. Don't be like that. As well, it was recorded in another narration, pretty much the same thing again, that it was about some Sahaba who used to intend to give a poor quality of dates when they would want to give sadaqah instead of giving the best of what they had to give. Or it would also happen that sometimes they would buy poor quality, right? They say, listen, somebody wants sadaqah, right? And we want to give sadaqah, so let me go to the store and get stuff that nobody eats. Who eats, beans in a can? Like, you bring that to the person and say, here's sadaqah for you. Like, who eats this? Or you ever see when people, subhanAllah, may Allah accept it from them, but this is something that we have to ponder about, right? People will go to like the food pantries, right? You know the food pantries? You never heard about the food pantries? Okay, yeah, I thought I was the only one who grew up in the hood. Right? You go to the food pantries, right? And when you go to the food pantries, they used to have like those, those peanut butters? Remember them? And they give those peanut butters, so then people want to give that instead of those peanut butters in the can, the USDA peanut butters in the can, right? Or, yeah, you don't know, it's okay, mashallah. Those who know, they know, right? Those those USDA peanut butters in the can, it's so hard, you can't even get the peanut butter right. You put it in the bread, it rips the bread, right? So people want to give those cans and say, here, bring this to the masjid. No, don't bring that to the masjid. Bring a nice jar of Jiffy or, something Peter Pan. Don't bring that, and expect people to want to eat it, right? You don't know what it is. It's okay. It's a, Tayyib. So basically what it means, don't bring the bad stuff. Stuff that you know you don't want to eat. Think about something that you have it in your house, it stays in the cabinet forever. Right? You know what I'm talking about? You ever seen nothing stays in your cabinet? Everything's eaten, right? Okay. All right. Tayyib, I know my kids, some things in the cabinet. When I was young, we were like, man, why did my mother even buy this? None of us are going to eat it. But that stuff that stays there and you want to take that and say, I'm going to give this to my friend. No, don't do that. Give the stuff that you want. Bring mangoes, right? Or you don't want to bring no mango to the masjid for sadaqah, right? So now I'm going to eat these, right? That's what I'm saying. That's what it means. Bring the good stuff that... Bring the good stuff, right? That you want to eat every day. Bring, good meat. Bring a leg of lamb. And bring that and see how fast that gets taken off the table in the masjid, right? you know, people bring cereal, they bring Cheerios that have no flavor. Bring some Frosted Flakes. You know, something that, you know, when people see it, they're going to say, oh, let me get that. People are going to be happy when they see Frosted Flakes or, you know, Tricks. I'll bring, you know, Cheerios. Nobody wants to eat Cheerios for the most part. But again, of course, may Allah accept it from them if that's what they can give. Or if you really like Cheerios. But if you don't, if you don't like Cheerios, don't bring it. That's the point, right? Tayyib. Now, so now let's look at the ayah. Allah says, أَيَوَدُ أَحَدُكُمْ. Allah says, أَيَوَدُ أَحَدُكُمْ أَن تَكُونَ لَهُ جَنَّةٌ مِّن نَخِيلٍ وَأَعْنَابٍ. Allah says, would you like, pay attention, Allah says, would you like to have, in Sheikh Muhammad, he says that this, Sheikh Muhammad Al-Ameen, he says that this is connected to when Allah was talking about earlier, لَا تُبْطِلُوا صَدَقَاتِكُمْ. When he was talking about the people who destroy their sadaqah by man and by riyah. The people who destroy their sadaqah, their charity, by showing off, by doing it to be seen, or those people who destroy their charity by talking about it after they gave it to him. And remember, the man is the one who talks about his sadaqah to make himself look bigger. Yo, I gave you. Everybody, look what I did for that person, right? Remember? So that person destroys their sadaqah. So Allah continues that vein of talk, and he says, أَيَوَدُّ أَحَدُكُمْ. Will one of you want, either the one who did it in Riyadh, the munafiq, or the one who talked about it later on? So still, it's encouraging us about how to properly give our charity. What's the best way to give for the sake of Allah, right? Will one of you want to have a garden, and in this garden, there's date palm trees. In this garden, there's grapes. And the Shaykh said, why did Allah mention nakhil wa anab here? Why didn't he mention something else? He says because these are two fruits, right? That everyone for the most part likes, grapes and dates, right? Nobody really is going to be like, I don't want any grapes, I don't want any dates. And they're very nutritious. Not alone are they tasty, right? Not alone are they tasty as a fruit, they're very nutritious and good for the body. So Allah has mentioned those ones from amongst the best of the fruits, especially that were known in the lands of the Arabs at that time. And then he says, تَجْرِي مِن تَحْتِهَا الْأَنْهَارُ. That if you have a garden and underneath that garden, there's a river that's flowing. Think about it, right? One of the most important things for a person's garden to grow is what? Water. Not just water, irrigation. You know what irrigation means? Being able to bring water to the garden. Because you can have water come and water your garden. That's hard work, right? Every day to come water your garden, water your garden. One of the most skillful tasks of a good farmer is to find a way to irrigate, meaning to water his garden without tiring himself out. Right? Does that make sense or not? Now, if we're talking about this garden here, تَجْرِي مِن تَحْتِهَا الْأَنْهَارُ. Under this garden, the rivers are flowing. You don't have to do no work to make sure this garden is working out good. Rivers are flowing underneath this tree, under these trees. Rivers are flowing under this place. That makes this garden more expensive. It makes the worth of this garden to go up. This is a special garden, right? A garden where you don't have to worry about irrigating it and watering it. So Allah says after that, لَهُ فِيهَا مِن كُلِّ الثَّمَرَاتِ. And for the person who owns this garden, they have every fruit they can imagine in it. Not just date palms and grapes, but they have every other fruit that you can think of and you want in a garden. Right? وَأَصَابَهُمْ الْكِبْرُ. But then after that, old age comes to this person. And if you're too old, you can't take care of your crops. وَلَهُ ذُرِّيَّةٌ ضُعَفَاء. And he had young, toddler children, weak children, right, that were not old enough to help him, right? And this is another benefit that you learn about children. They say that the woman, of course, when she has a child, she loves the child from the first time it's in her belly, right? As soon as it's in her belly, she's already in love with it, right? Oh, mashallah, my child, and she's in love. Never saw the child before it even becomes 1 month old in her stomach. Men, as they will love the child when it's first born, the real love that the man grows with the child is when the child is able to start doing things with him. That's just how men are, right? They'll love the child when it's young. But remember from the story of Ibrahim, why did Allah tell Ibrahim to slaughter him after he reached a certain age? Why? Because that's when the child becomes more beloved to a man. This is my child, not just my child. He's helping me out. He's working with me, doing the things that we're doing together. Beneficial to the man. Then Allah says these children were young, toddlers still, weak. They couldn't help him. فَأَصَابَهَا إِعْصَارٌ فِيهِ نَارٌ فَاحْتَرَقَتْ. Then it came to this garden. After this, what situation was this person in? He had a beautiful garden, rivers flowing under, every fruit you could imagine. He became old. Old man. Weak, young children, young people that are dependent on Iyad. They're dependent upon him, right? I'sar, what is an i'sar? Anybody know what i'sar is? What type of wind is this? Huh? What type of wind is this? It will be considered a tornado. You know a tornado? Where the wind touches the actual ground and a column is spinning. You ever see how a tornado destroys everything that it comes across? Why? Because the wind of the tornado doesn't just fly over something. Normally wind, right, if it just goes, like if wind hits this building, it'll go around. It'll hit it, but it'll go around. The tornado wind, it goes from the ground up to the sky. It's one column from the ground up to the sky. So it's running on the ground, the wind, all around running, destroying everything it touches. All the way up to the sky. So you ever see when a tornado comes, it grabs everything that's inside of it, spinning it around, all the way up to the sky, right? So that's the i'sar. And not alone is it an i'sar, fihi nar. It also has a fire inside of it. So it burned his garden. Fahtarakat. What do you think this person felt when he saw his garden like this? It's just sad? Is it sad? Do you think that's the only thing he felt? Depressed, that's it? Imagine that feeling. Imagine this feeling again. When you got to think about it, there was no food stamps for him. He didn't got no food stamps, no DSS, nobody's going to, his garden, no, seriously, right? His garden, there's nowhere he can go ask for help. He can't go to the government and say, oh, I lost my job, can I get unemployment? He has children, young children that need him and are dependent upon him, right? Huh? He felt desperate. He felt depressed. He felt sad. He felt like he lost everything because he literally did. Right? How am I going to feed my children? I'm too weak to go out and plant a new garden. I'm too old to go out and get a job. Everything I planned on, my whole retirement, right, was based on this garden I worked my whole life for. Now it's gone. How am I going to feed my children and myself? And hopefully, well, if he had a wife, he's really in trouble. But she's just going to make it worse. Oh, you weak old man, you can't even go get us no food. Now he's really sad, right? Heartbroken, depressed, feels low, and his children. How am I going to feed them? And there might be toddlers, they're crying, hungry. كَذَلِكَ يُبَيِّنُ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ آيَاتِ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَفَكَّرُونَ. Like this, Allah makes clear to you his signs so that you might think about it and ponder. You understand this? This Allah put this example for us to really think about what it means to do good deeds. And then when you need those good deeds the most, meaning when you die, or when you become old, you're no longer able to do good deeds because you started to do evil deeds. And you die in a situation when you needed those good deeds the most, you wipe them all away with your evil deeds. That's what Allah wants us to think of. Allah wants you to think about that and ponder and bring this to your mind about how that must truly feel, right? How it must truly feel to be in a situation where you've lost everything. That's how it is if a person does good deeds and then decides to end up doing evil, right? Like we say, let's give an example, bring it close to us, right? How many people do we each know have memorized the whole Quran? A lot of us. We know a lot of people, right? Then we see them and we say, man, what are you doing? You're not living by what you know. May Allah protect us and forbid, right? What if a person dies in this situation where they used to be upon righteousness? You say, man, you used to be upon good and righteousness. Why have you changed? What are you doing? if that person dies in this situation, all that past stuff that they did of good means nothing. Because as it goes, right? Al-Ameen bil khawatim. Actions will be judged by the end. So we have to learn from this example here. It's extremely scary parable. That it tells us that just because I'm good today doesn't mean I can be bad tomorrow. We can't take off any days. Do you understand? We can't take off any days and say, well, listen, I did really good this whole week. So, for the next month, I'm going to be bad. I'm going to hang out with the bad people, do the bad stuff. I'm not covering the duksi. I'm not memorizing no Quran. I'm just going to take off for a month. And then subhanAllah, what if that month is when the angel comes to take our soul? There's no break for us. We have to work on our garden every day, right? We have to store our good deeds away every day so that when Allah takes our soul by His mercy, He takes our soul in a situation when we're in a good status with Allah, right? Can't take breaks. As Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he said, "La rahata lil mu'mineen duna liqa'illah." There's no break for the believer. You see that the life of the believer is always test after test. There's no break for the believer, and you have to be strong enough, right? By relying upon Allah consistently, by doing good deeds. You can't rely on Allah if you're sinning. You understand that? You can't say, oh, Allah, help me rob a bank. No. Oh, Allah, help me smoke the drugs. No. You can only rely on Allah to do the good things. So to get the help of Allah, you have to be doing the things that Allah is pleased with you to do. Do you understand that? You can't ask Allah to help you to sin. So if you want Allah to help you and to remain in the good favor of Allah, then obey Allah today. One of the best ways to receive the help of Allah is to obey Allah. Be in obedience of Allah. So that when this comes. So as well, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He will destroy the deeds of a person who does their actions to be seen, or they follow it up with talking about it and bragging about it. Likewise, is another example for that. That a person, he did all this good, spent all this sadaqah, but he talks about it all day long. Yep, I built the masjid, I paid the whole masjid, or I gave this, yep, that person rent needed to be paid, and I gave it to them, and, whoa, relax. Did you do it for Allah, or you did it for the people? Because then you did it all, and then it's gone. Nothing's left of it. Now, so, again, Allah tells us about what? Pondering and thinking. Reflecting. What's the best way to reflect, Hamdi? How do you reflect? Can you reflect? How can you reflect? What's the thing that stops you from reflecting? Sins. Sins stop you from being able to reflect and understand properly what's going on. Sins. May Allah protect us all. Ameen. Then Allah says, يا أيها الذين آمنوا أنفقوا من طيبات ما كسبتم ومما أخرجنا لكم من الأرض ولا تيمموا الخبيث منه تنفقون ولستم بآخذيه إلا أن تغمضوا فيه واعلموا أن الله غني حميد. Huh? I still have markers. If you didn't know, I have. Tayyib. Allah says, oh, you who believe. Oh, you who believe in what? In Allah, and that which Muhammad ﷺ came with, right? Everything that He's told us and informed us about. Oh, you who believe. What is Iman? I'm going to ask just a review. What is Iman? It seems like there's no ijma'. Nobody's agreed upon what is Iman. Excellent, excellent. May Allah bless you all to have Iman and us all. رَزَقَنَا اللَّهُ إِيمَانًا صَالِحًا. Tayyib. Allah says, oh, you who believe, spend from that which you have earned. مِمَّا كَسَبْتُمْ. So we learned two things here, right? وَمِمَّا أَخْرَجْنَا لَكُم مِّنَ الْأَرْضِ. The first thing Allah is speaking about is that which you spend from Spend from the good things of that which you have earned. Earn means that you put some effort in to get it, either through business or whatever you've done, right? You've put in some effort, or working, however you did it. You know, you put in some effort to get that money or to get that thing. Then as well, for the things that Allah brought from the earth. What is that things like Allah brought from the earth? Grain, fruits, right? Vegetables. Those things Allah provides from the earth. But at the end of the day, everything comes from Allah. Even the stuff that you earn through business, we realize that it comes from Allah. Allah gave you the ability. Allah created you and what you do. So everything in reality comes from who, Abdurrahman? We have to remember that, correct? So Allah is telling us to spend from the good things of what we have gathered, from gold, from silver, from, business and everything else, and livestock. Spend from that stuff. Don't spend from the bad from amongst it. So now we have to take a small break. Let's look at something, right? There's two types of ways of khabith and two types of way of good. Good comes from two ways, and khabith, the bad, evil earnings, comes from two ways. It can either be evil in how it was earned, right? It goes like this. It's broken down to kisman. That is either khabith bi dhatihi wa khabith bi kasbihi. How it was earned is evil, or it's filthy, is not good, or it's bad in itself. So you can't give in sadaqah pork. You can't give somebody and say, oh, mashallah, I brought you a whole leg of pork. Will you accept that? Will you say, mashallah, barakallahu feek, I was looking for that? No. You can't give it. It's khabith, right? But also, you can't go rob a bank and then want to come and say, here, take this money, here's my sadaqah to you, right? Why? You earned it wrong. The way it was earned was improper, right? So the way that you earned it was bad. Now, what happens if you spend that money? Let's say you robbed the bank. What happens? Can you give that money in sadaqah? No? What'd you say? MashaAllah, yeah, Sheikh. Yes, but Allah, it doesn't count for you. You should give that money away. Not, you spend it on the haram, but don't look for a reward from Allah for it. Don't look for a reward from Allah for it. Right? Allah knows best. But anyway, so it's badly earned. The other way is tayyib. It's tayyib in itself and tayyib in how it was earned. That is what Allah expects from us and will accept from us, inshallah, in sadaqah. That we earned it in a good, halal way. Working, trading, business, whatever it is. And itself, and in and of itself, is good. Does that make sense? So it has to be tayyib in itself and tayyib in how it's earned. And it cannot be khabith in itself nor khabith in how it's earned. Does that make sense? What did I just say, Abdurrahman? Morpheus. Huh? You don't know? Because you're sitting there looking through a sunglass instead of paying attention, right? What did you learn about the sunglass? And you don't even have two, you just have a sunglass. That's even worse. At least have two sunglasses. That's what I don't know. I said that it has to be good in how it's earned and itself. You can't earn a pork leg and give it in sadaqah. It has to be good in itself and how you earned it. And it can't be bad in itself and how you earned it. It has to be good in both sections, both divisions, okay? So Allah says, وَلَا تَيَمَّمُوا الْخَبِيثِ. Don't intend to give somebody, or khabith here is a poor quality of something. Don't try to give someone that which you don't really want. It's poor quality. It's not good, right? You want to, you say, man, like we said earlier, that some of the Sahaba, they would go buy poor quality of food. They want to give it in sadaqah. No, give sadaqah what you would want to eat, right? Give a person a sadaqah. If you want to take somebody, to give sadaqah, don't just give them a can of beans. Because that's not what we eat. We don't eat a can of beans. You eat beans at night? A can of beans? So why you want to put a can of beans for somebody and say, here, mashallah, here you go, here's this can of beans to eat? No, treat them how you want to eat them. Cook for them then, if that's the case, right? Especially some of you know how to cook a little bit. Cook for them. Here's my best food that I made, and not your cook, Fatima, your food would kill the person. So let it be someone who knows how to cook. You know, you give them the good food that you know how to cook. Don't cook it yourself if you know that you can't get busy in the kitchen properly. Right? So, so Allah's commanded us here to spend that which is good and not to spend that which is bad. Now, some of the scholars, they say that this is in regards to zakat. But the reality is that's referring to every type of sadaqah. Obligatory sadaqah or voluntary. If you're giving an obligatory zakat, give the good of what you have. And if you're giving voluntarily, then also give the good of what you have. As well, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentions, He says, Allah says, يَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَنفِقُوا مِنْ طَيِّبَاتِ مَا كَسَبْتُمْ وَمِمَّا أَخْرَجْنَا لَكُم مِنَ الْأَرْضِ وَلَا تَيَمَّمُوا الْخَبِيثَ مِنْهُ تُنْفِقُونَ وَلَسْتُمْ بِآخِذِهِ إِلَّا أَن تُغْمِضُوا فِيهِ. Shaykh Muhammad Al-Ameen, he says that here is showing that the poor actually are shuraka fi rabb al-mal. They share in the wealth of the owner of the owner of that wealth. They're partners in that. That if you have a lot of money, the way that Islam understands life as a community, that the one who has a lot of money, guess what? He has partners that maybe not be what they call silent partners then. Because the poor is a silent partner in his wealth. That he has this money, right? And he thinks it's just mine. But Allah didn't set it up like that. The one who has money, the poor have a share of that. And it's a must that he gives a share of that to the poor. If he doesn't, he's doing something sinful. You understand that? That's why Allah says, minhu tunfikuna. From it, let him spend. Illa an tuqmidu fi. And Allah speaks about this, illa an tuqmidu fi, is that a person, he gives that which, that if he was be given that same thing, he wouldn't take it except with closing his eyes. Like he says, man, what? You know, let's say if you want to buy somebody a phone today, right? You get them an Obama phone, right? Seriously, right? You want to buy a phone for your sister, brother, daughter, cousin, husband, wife, right? Do you go get them an Obama phone and say, here, husband, here, wife, here's this nice Obama phone? They're going to be like, what's that? You know, nobody's going to want it. That's just the reality of life today, right? You get a person with the good of what you want to give. You have a nice iPhone XR, or you upgraded recently to an iPhone, 11 plus, whatever. Then why does your ma'alam not have an iPhone 11? Right? Doesn't that make sense? Does anybody have an answer to that? That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about that's how it should be. Right? If you have it, treat people how you want to be treated. But in reality, it doesn't mean you have to give them the newest thing, but it has to be a good quality of it. Right? Doesn't mean you have to give them the newest and baddest thing, but don't give them a quality that you wouldn't want to take unless you were like, what is that? You understand? And it helps us to understand that they're our brothers still. They're still our sisters, regardless if they are in need or they're poor. They're still my brother and my sister. So being that they're my brother and my sisters, then what? لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه. None of you are going to believe until you love for your brother what? You love for yourself. Does that make sense? I don't want to, man, Allah, it's not saying it's a bad. I don't want the Obama phone. So why should I, go tell you here, let me get you that. If I want to give you anything. Otherwise, I can't help you. I can't get you a phone, man. I don't have it. And that's just an example, of course. Doesn't mean, because then all really boils down to maybe that works for you. But everyone has their level. What works for them, it doesn't work for them. Treat people how you want to be treated on your level is the point. Maybe you have an Obama phone, and that works for you, and you love it. So then you can give someone it and say, here's an Obama phone for you too. Right? And that's fine, because that's what you like. But it all boils down to, again, what? What do I like in myself? What do I love for myself? Right? Don't give me last year's stove. Right? Nobody wears that stove this year. That makes sense? If this year everyone's wearing this type of jilbab, why you want to give me the one that everyone was wearing from last year? So I can be out of date. Right? You girls know that type of stuff. I don't know what's new jilbabs. To me, they all look the same. Right? But the girls they know has a little pin right here, different. It says, so that makes it 2019. So don't give me the one from 2018. Is that correct? All right, tell you. Are we clear on that? Because that's important. Give people what you want to have. Does that make sense? You people? Give people what you like. Something that when you see them in it, you will be happy you will be happy even if you can have it. وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ غَنِيٌّ حَمِيدٌ. Know that Allah is ghani. He doesn't need you to spend. He doesn't need your sadaqah. He only tells you to spend. Why? Why does Allah tell you to spend, Hamdi? No. He back. Why does Allah tell you to spend? Why does Allah tell you to spend? He back. Huh? You don't know? Okay, then why spend? Who knows the answer? Here, you say it. What's your name? Khadar. You're from, mashallah, Team Khadar. You have to know the answer. If you don't know the answer, we're going to kick you out. No, there's no such thing. There's no such thing. There's only Team Khadar like this. And everything that goes under Khadar, Khadra, like this. Go ahead, what do you have? What's your answer? Represent. What? You sure your name is Khadra? We need to see your birth certificate. We need to make sure. No, the question is, what was the question? SubhanAllah, let me forget. Why does Allah make you spend? Why does Allah want you to spend? He doesn't need your sadaqah. He doesn't need your spending. Why does He make you spend? MashaAllah, that's what I'm talking about. Only a person with the name Khadr could have done that. That's not true? I think so. And I'm going with that for today. Because He wants you to have ajr. He wants you to spend for your benefit. Right? It's for your benefit to spend. Now everybody wants to name their children Khadr. I know. Alhamdulillah. Good, it's a good name to have if you don't know it, right? May Allah bless every Khadr or Khadra in the world. Ameen. So, right? And everyone else too. Tayyib. One time a Sahaba said this, right, to the Prophet ﷺ, and I was waiting for someone to bring this correction. Right? One time a Sahaba, the Prophet ﷺ and the companions, right? Let's see if here goes a quiz. Pop quiz. What Sahaba said this and why? What happened? Let's see if anyone knows. I'm going to tell you first what he said. He said, may Allah have mercy on you and me and nobody else. Who said that? Why did he say it? He said, may Allah have mercy on you and me. Talk to the Prophet ﷺ and nobody else. Then the Prophet said, you made something small. You made something that is big, small. I mean, the mercy of Allah is for everyone, right? You made something that is small. You made something that is wide to be small. Why, what Sahaba said this? And why did he say it? It's a good question, right? Tayyib, I'll tell you the answer. It was a Sahabi when the Prophet said, one Sahabi came into the masjid and he used the bathroom in one of the corners of the masjid. Right? He started to, urinate in the masjid, akramakallah. Right? So the other Sahabas were going to beat him up. Yo, this guy what's wrong with him? Right? So the Prophet said, leave him, let him finish. Then he called that Sahabi and he said, listen, the masjid is a place for remembering Allah and, good things such and such. And he said, wow, after he realized everyone was going to jump on him and beat him up, he said, may Allah have mercy on you and me only, right? Just us, nobody else. So, no, of course, may Allah bless everyone. Huh? Whether their name is Khadr or not. Tayyib. Who was the Sahaba? He was known as the Sahaba who your name the Prophet's message. I don't know his name. I don't know his name. That's just how it was described. I don't know his name. He was a Bedouin Arab. He wasn't like one of the famous Sahabis. That's why they gave him a break. Because if he was like a Abu Bakr or something, like he wouldn't do that. He didn't know. He didn't know better. Radiallahu anhu. So Tayyib, anyway, Allah wants us to spend not because He needs it, but because it's for our own benefit. And Allah is Hamid. He's praiseworthy in every situation. Allah is to be praised. There's no time that Allah is not deserving of praise. And that's because of His wisdom and His might and His power and everything about Allah, right? Everything that we're going to learn about Allah coming soon, right? Is why Allah should be praised. Question, does anybody remember the homework from yesterday? I'm going to remind you so nobody thinks they don't remember. To review what? No, that wasn't the homework. No, that wasn't the homework. No, that wasn't the homework. The homework was not the body parts. The homework is to list every one of those major sins under the 5 maqasid of the Shari'iyya. Not body parts. To list every one of the major sins and to see which one of those major sins or how each one of those major sins violates one or two or three or whatever it is of the maqasid of the shar'iyyah. Because every sin violates one of those 5 maqasid. Okay? So we want to see how, and we want to know your fiqh. Right? La tahkir nafsak. Don't belittle yourself. You guys are fuqaha, inshallah, one day or today. We'll see. The next ayat that we continue with is, and we end with, is الشيطان يعدكم الفقر ويأمركم بالفحشاء. The shaitan, he commands you to do what? What is the shaitan? What do you know about this guy, shaitan? What do you know about the shaitan? No, seriously. What do you know about shaitan? That's important. Why should you know shaitan? So you can know your enemy. إِنَّهُ لَكُمْ عَدُوٌ مُبِينٌ فَاتَّخِذْهُ عَدُوًا. Right? إِنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ عَدُوٌ فَاتَّخِذْهُ عَدُوًا. The shaitan is an enemy, so you should know your enemy, right? You should know, you can't win a war if you don't know who you're going to war against, right? We're going to war, so subhanAllah. We're at war with shaitan. We need to know how does he want to attack us? What does he want from us? As the poet said, عَرَفْتُ الشَّرْ لَا لِلشَّرِ وَلَكِنْ لِتَوَقِّيهِ. That I learned evil, we learned or became aware of what was evil, not so that we can do it, but so that we can protect ourselves from it, right? It makes sense? So Allah is telling us what the shaitan wants. He says, الشَّيْطَانُ يَعِدُكُمُ الْفَقْرَ. The shaitan, he threatens you, right? He threatens you with poverty when you want to spend. Whenever you want to go spend, the shaitan says, no, listen, don't spend, man, because if you give up, now look at this, how it works. Be honest, we have to really check ourselves. One thing about the Quran is this. The Quran will beat you up if you listen to it. What do I mean by beat you up? Maybe that's not the best terminology to use. But if you listen to the Quran, and you open your heart to it, it'll beat you up. Oh, listen, look what you're doing. You're doing this wrong. Don't do this, right? The Quran talks to you. It's living. It's the speech of Allah. So every time you read the Quran, it'll tell you something new about yourself. But you have to be willing to listen. Can't front about it. Say, yeah, you know what? That does happen. I do that sometimes, don't I? May Allah forgive me. Because I do be messing up right there too sometimes. Because Allah knows us. So Allah says, Shaitan ya'idukum al-faqr. We got to ask ourselves, how often does that happen? We got to say, does that happen to me? That, I say, let's give an example. On average, right? The average person here, right, these days, the average girl probably has, at least 15 jilbabs or outfits to wear. At least 15, right? Maybe more. Is that generally speaking probably right? No? More, right? About 20 probably. Yeah, 15? Okay, 15. But then you have 15, but then you have sisters who have 15, so it interchanges too, right? So I might wear my sister's jilbab or dress.
Still have more, but like the average.
The average, right? Tell you. So then you say you have 15. How many can you wear in a day? One, right? Then they're like, subhanAllah, some of it, I don't know the girl, but I mean, I wear the same throw for maybe 3 days, right? 3 days, 2 days. Why not? Some guys got wear the same, I don't know. Is that right? So then why you can't give? You say somebody said, give up three jilbabs. You say, I don't have enough. Really? Why? Because shaitan comes to you and says, don't do it. That's your favorite one. Don't do it. You're going to not have any more. Don't do it. Nobody has new ones. That one just came out in 2019. Right? And he starts telling you this and you listen. You say, yeah, you're right, shaitan. You don't even realize shaitan, you think it's you. But you say, yeah, shaitan, you're right. If I give it to them, and they're going to look better than me in it too. I know they're going to look nice in it if they wear it. So shaitan lied. Yeah, I know. That's what he comes and says. No, that's a really, really nice jilbab. I don't want nobody to look nice in it but me. And then don't realize that the store has 10 more of them, right? So, but the shaitan is lying to you. And if you listen to him, that's why we have to know him. So we know when we hear these type of thoughts. Allah doesn't talk to us like that. The angels don't talk to us like that. Our soul doesn't. It's the shaitan that wants you to be stingy. Right? You have 5 slices of pizza. Can you really eat all 5? But you just want to be greedy. Somebody says, oh, can I have one? No, because this one is for, I already told somebody else they can have one. Stop lying. You lying. You just want to act, you want to be stingy. Even if you have 2 slices. Reality is, right, what's the normal serving of a slice of pizza? It's really 1. You can be good with 1, but you want 2, right? You want 2 because the first one tasted so good, you want another one, right? It's a reality. So we have to learn that when we hear those type of things, it's really the shaitan. It's not us. We don't want to be like that. It's not our norm to be just stingy. So when we hear it, we fight it. We say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. You evil shaitan. Ash-shaytanu ya'idukum al-faqr wa ya'murukum bil-fahsha. And he commands you to do that which is fahsha. And the fahsha here that's being talked about is being stingy. Fahsha is any type of sin. But specifically here, the sin of the shaitan that was being talked about in this avenue is that the shaitan orders us to be stingy. To be, bakhil is like, what does this bakhil mean? Huh? Stingy, right? Like when you don't want to give something. Greedy, that's the word I'm looking for. No, it's not greedy really though. Stubborn? Not stubborn, no. I think stingy is the best word for it. I think stingy is the best word for it. When you have enough, because again, it doesn't mean that when Allah commands us to spend, Allah doesn't command us to spend from what we don't have. If you don't have it, you don't have it. That's the difference, right? Pay attention to that. Allah commands us to spend from the fadl of what we have. You have extra, you have enough, and you don't spend. That's what we're talking about here. Not if you really only have one jilbab or two jilbabs and you need one or one. That's different. Or you don't have money today. Let's say today somebody comes to you and they say, you know what, can I borrow $10? And you don't have $10. Maybe you only have $10 and you need it for something, right? Then of course it wouldn't be the wisest of things for you to give them the $10 because then now you're going to need to borrow from somebody else. So we're talking about if somebody came to you and they asked you for $10 and you have 100 and you only need 50 of it. It's not going to hurt you to give them. It might, make your pockets feel weird, but it's not going to kill you. It's not going to make you not eat that day. Your rent is already paid, right? So you give the $10, you're fine. You just don't feel as comfortable. It takes away from your comfortability, but it doesn't harm your day-to-day living. That makes sense? So the shaitan, he orders you with this. And again, fahsha is any type of disgusting sin. So Allah is using fahsha. Normally fahsha, they use it for things like what? Zina, for liwat, for homosexuality. This is normal when we say fahsha, right? When you mention sins, fahsha are those disgusting sins that anyone who sees it like, oh, you did that, right? Like somebody comes and says, oh, homosexuality. You say, that's a fahsha. Oh, how can you do that? Oh, you committed zina. Oh, what's wrong with you? May Allah protect us, right? Allah used fahsha for being stingy to show you how disgusting it is. It's a big deal, right? To be stingy when you have enough and you still don't want to give. And this is Wallahu ya'idukum maghfiratan minhu wa fadla. Allah promises you of forgiveness from Him. Meaning that if you give what you have, Allah will forgive your sins. If you give what you have, is one of the best ways to seek forgiveness. A sadaqah, subhanAllah, is one of the things that wipe out sins faster than anything else. You give sadaqah, Allah will take away your sins. So especially, subhanAllah, we know the hadith the Prophet ﷺ said, وَاتْبَعِ السَّيِّئَةَ بِالْحَسَنَةِ تَمْحُوهَا. One of the best things to do when you commit a sin or do a wrong is go hurry up and give some sadaqah. Why? Why does sadaqah help you remove sins so fast? And brings you barakah in your life? Why? Tell me why. You're very close, but you're not all the way there. Keep walking down the street a little bit. The question is, why does sadaqah wipe out sin so good? Why is it such a good sin wiper outer?
Because you don't have to do it.
No, I'm going to tell you. Most of the time when people do a sin, it's because of something they love. They want to do the sin, right? They fell into the sin because they wanted to do it. They love the music, so they listen to it, right? Maybe they love punching people in the face, so they punch somebody that day, right? They love gossiping. Some people love gossiping, right? What is that called? Gossiping called? Namima and ghiba. Some people love it. They love to eat that flesh, right? So they run and give sadaqah. Why? Because sadaqah is you doing something that you don't really love for the sake of Allah. So it's the opposite. Nobody wants to get rid of money. Will anybody burn their money? No. So you giving sadaqah is something that you really don't want to do, except that you're doing it to give for the sake of Allah. Most people don't love I love giving sadaqah. You give it because you love Allah. And you're preferring what Allah loves over what you love. Most people will want to keep their money in their pocket, right? Because you love Allah more, you're willing to give it for the sake of Allah. So Allah forgives you because of this. You prefer the love of Allah over everything else. But fadla, and Allah is saying that the fadla is that just because you gave is not going to wipe nothing out. The fadla here is the bounties that you give and it's not going to take away from what you have. That's what we don't realize. But whose promise do we believe more? The promise of shaitan or the promise of Allah? And that's the fight. Yeah, we say it. It's easy to say. But these type of things are proven by your actions. Right? What are you going to do? Okay, who believes the promise of Allah? Everyone's going to say, I do. But when that test comes to you, what are you going to show? That you believe in the promise of Allah or the promise of shaitan? And if you believe in the promise of shaitan, you're going to keep that money tight in your pocket. No, I'm not giving nothing. No, I don't have it. Please don't ask me. No. You see the person coming that wants to ask for money. You're like, oh, don't let him ask me. Please, don't let him ask me. That means you believe in the promise of shaitan more. Shaitan said you're going to become poor if you give. If you give, you ain't going to have nothing. But Allah says if you give, you're going to have forgiveness and you're going to have fadl. Fadl meaning that even though you give, it's not going to take away nothing from you. That Allah's going to give you back more. Anybody ever gave sadaqah, you'll realize is that whenever you give sadaqah specifically for the sake of Allah, you always get back more. You say, wow, man, I didn't really lose nothing. Everything is still good and I even got more money back. Really, if you want to make money, one will tell you a trick about the way that Allah works. If you want more money, give money. If you want money, let's start now. Everybody bring me $10. Let's see who's ready to work. Nobody? Everybody's still in it. So whose promise do you believe? I told you the test is going to come. Now here's your test. Oh, you want to give 20, Hamdi? Okay, thank you. Everybody, you guys think I'm joking? Yes. Okay, Tayyip, I am. But the point is, how many of you were nervous just then? Ask yourself that question. How many of you, your hearts dropped? Oh, is he serious? You want me to give him $10? What if I was serious? He's going to give it? Because $10 is nothing for you, rich people. $100. Now you start thinking, man, calm down. You're going crazy here. But that's the point. Ask yourself, talk to yourself. Well, you got to talk to yourself. They say that you're crazy if you talk to yourself, but it's not true. You should talk to yourself, right? Not me to sit there and say, man, is it trees outside? Yeah, I think so. But you gotta bring yourself to account. So you talk to yourself. You say, wow, well, how did I feel when he asked me that? I was scared because I already had plans for that $10. I was going to go to the store right after class and go get chips and this. And he asked me for the money that I had to go to the store. I was scared. I didn't want to give it up. Talk to yourselves, right? Then we say what? Allah promised the fadl. So whenever you spend, it never goes away. Wallahu wasi'un alim. Allah is one that's all encompasses, wide, expansive forgiveness. He can forgive all sins. And as well, Allah is the one who can give you when you spend. He's the one who can enrich you when you spend for his cause. Allah, this is easy for Allah. We got to remember who Allah is. Allah's wasi'un. There's nothing that Allah doesn't have. If Allah wants to give you, and whatever you ask Allah for and you want it, Allah will give you. And he is alim. He's aware and knows our intentions when we spend. So if we spend and it's not for the sake of Allah, Allah knows that. And if we spend it, it is for his sake, then he knows that and he'll reward us for that in ways that we can't even imagine. Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he said, أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال ما من يوم يصبح فيه العباد إلا وملكان ينزلان يقول أحدهما اللهم أعطي منفقا خلفا ويقول الآخر اللهم أعطي ممسكا تلفا. Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he said that every day that a person wakes up, what day? So that means today it happened too. Every day that a person wakes up, there are two angels that come down. Two angels come down, and one of them say, oh Allah, a'ti munfikan khalafa. Oh Allah, give the one who spends, give them extra, replace it for them. Don't let it go away. Wa'ati mumsikan talafa. And give the one who holds back, the stingy one, make their wealth destroyed. Every day, angels come and make this dua. Oh Allah, give the one who spends, give them a khalaf, give them a replacement for what they've spent. Give them something else, some fadl. And oh Allah, the one who doesn't want to spend, destroy their wealth. So tell us, whoa, man, we should be spending as much as we can, if we can. As well, the Prophet ﷺ, he said that Allah said, "Anfiq yunfiq alayk." Allah says in Hadith Qudsi that spend and I'll spend on you. If you spend, I'll spend on you. Tayyib? As well, there comes a narration of Asma bint Abi Bakr radiallahu anhuma that she said the Messenger of Allah ﷺ, he told her, "Anfiki wa la tuhsi fa yuhsa alayk." He says, spend and don't count it. Don't be one of those people like you said. Somebody says you spend, and you're like, man, I gave $10 today already. I'm not giving nothing else. Spend. And don't count it. Don't try to enumerate it. And then so that it won't be counted for you. So that, your wealth, when Allah spends you, is not, Allah treats us. Basically what it means is that Allah treats us how we treat others. If you're stingy or you're counting all the time, I gave $1 to you and $1 to you today. I'm done, everybody, for my sadaqah. Nobody come today. Don't be that type of person. Because we don't want Allah to be like that with us. We want Allah to give us freely. Whatever we need, we want Allah to give it to us, right? So treat the people the same way and Allah will treat you in a better way. The last ayat is يُؤْتِ الْحِكْمَةَ مَنْ يَشَاء فَقَدْ أُوتِيَ وَمَنْ يُؤْتِ الْحِكْمَةَ فَقَدْ أُوتِيَ خَيْرًا كَثِيرًا. Allah says, يُؤْتِ الْحِكْمَةَ مَنْ يَشَاء. Wisdom, hikmah, is given to whoever Allah wills. What is wisdom? What is hikmah? Wisdom is knowledge. Yes, wisdom is knowledge. But what type of knowledge is it? No. Wisdom has different understandings. The scholars explain it differently. I say that the best one, Allah knows best, the Shaykh he chose is al-ilm al-nafi' al-mu'addi ila al-amal al-salih. Has 3 points. Beneficial knowledge, not just any knowledge, not knowledge of what the sport. Who won between Manchester United and I don't even know another soccer team besides Manchester United. You see that? Right? Who won between those guys in the game the other day? Anybody know? They didn't play? Manchester United, right? It's not beneficial knowledge. Who cares? Right? Is it going to help us in the akhirah? Is Allah going to ask you Yawm al-Qiyamah that the other day, it's okay that you know, it's not a problem because sometimes in the basketball games, I know who won, right? So it's not haram. But we're talking about what is wisdom. It's not wisdom to know, right? It's not wisdom, or it's not, so wisdom is ilmun nafi', beneficial knowledge, right? That leads to, that knowledge is not just knowledge itself, but it's knowledge that leads you, drives you to do righteous actions. You understand? It's knowledge that's beneficial that leads you to do righteous actions. That's wisdom. So people can have knowledge, a lot of knowledge, even from the Quran, Sunnah, everything. But if it doesn't make them do righteous actions, then it's not hikmah. It's not hikmah. Okay? So Allah says, يُؤْتَ الْحِكْمَةَ مَنْ يَشَاء. Allah gives the wisdom to whoever He wants. وَمَنْ يُؤْتَ الْحِكْمَةَ فَقَدْ أُوتِيَ خَيْرًا كَثِيرًا. And whoever was given wisdom, they've been given a great amount of good. They've been given a great amount of good. وَمَا يَذَّكَّرُ إِلَّا أُولُو الْأَلْبَابِ. And no one will understand or remember or call this to mind or benefit from it being mentioned except for the one who is what? أُولُو الْأَلْبَابِ. ذُو اللُّبِّ. The one who has intellect. The one who has intellect. And who doesn't have intellect, Hamdi? Who doesn't have intellect? We talked about it. How do you become stupid? How does a person become stupid? Sins. Sins makes you stupid. Sins weaken your intellect. As Imam al-Shafi'i rahimahullah ta'ala. Does anybody know this poem? It's from Imam al-Shafi'i rahimahullah, right? He says, سألت وقيع السوء حفظي وعشرني إلى ترك المعاصي فإن العلم نور ونور الله لا يؤتاه عاصي وأخبرني بأن العلم نور. He says, شكوت إلى وقيع السوء حفظي فأرشدني إلى ترك المعاصي وأخبرني بأن العلم النور ونور الله لا يؤتاه عاصي. I feel like I'm missing a line. Oh no, that's right. Okay. Does anybody know this poem? Heard it before? I complained to Waqi' about my bad memory. I complained to Waqi' about my poor memory. Right? He guided me. He told me to stop sinning. And he told me that ilm is light. And the light of Allah is not given to a sinful person. Right? Anybody know what happened to Imam Shafi'i? Why did that happen? What happened to him? He said the story goes, and Allah knows best how the story goes. We know the poem, but maybe the story is not actually accurate. But the story goes that Imam Shafi'i had a memory, the likes of that. If he was memorizing something, he would have to cover this side so he doesn't memorize the side that's with it. Strong memory, mashallah, right? So he would have what they call photographic memory. He'll look at it and remember it. Look at it, remember it, right? So then one day he came to class and he couldn't remember nothing. What happened? What happened? So he couldn't remember anything. And then he complained to his teacher, Waqi' ibn al-Jarrah, famous scholar of the Tabi'een, right? He complained to Waqi' ibn al-Jarrah. He said, I can't memorize. What's going on with me? Something is wrong. So Waqi' told him, and he informed him to don't sin. So the story goes that the sin that Imam Shafi'i may have committed that time was that he was walking down the street. Huh? No, he didn't even see a lady like today. May Allah guide us and protect us the places we live in, right? They said that he was walking down the street and he saw a lady's ankle. He saw her ankle. And when he saw her ankle, everything left. Like, whoa, I can't memorize nothing. Right? SubhanAllah. No, it's serious. He saw her ankle. The wind blew and her ankle became seen. He's seen it. It messed him up for the rest of the week, right? There's some benefits that you can take from that, right? Number one benefit is that it shows you the level of the Salaf, right? Today to us, that's nothing. You see an ankle, you're like, oh, it's an ankle, right? Who cares? Maybe, no, but it affects you. You don't realize how much things affect you until you stay away from it for so long that you realize that even something like that can affect you. That he couldn't even memorize anymore. Their level of piety and righteousness just wasn't like ours today. And that doesn't mean that we shouldn't strive to be like that. We shouldn't accept where we are today and say, it's cool, well, we live in America, so, it is what it is. No, and strive to get out of America. And even if you leave America, there's some places in the Muslim world that, are just as worse or just similar. So find places that are not bad. It's the Allaamah, they say one of the rights of, this is a side note, but they say, what is the rights of a Muslim wife? Anybody know what the rights of a wife are? People should know this type of stuff. We know the rights of a husband, right? Everybody know the rights of a husband should have? No? Don't worry, we'll tell you guys later on, private meeting. I give you guys privately tell you some stuff. What did you say? So tell me one of the rights of the woman. Are we talking the rights of the men? Stuck for a bad teacher, right? The rights of one of the most important rights of the woman, and this is something that people don't realize. And when you understand it, you understand how women are naturally. One of the rights of the woman that people don't speak about a lot is that you give them an environment to be a good woman. You give them an environment to be a good woman in. Because women, as we know from the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, of course men too, but women are more easily affected by their environment. More easily affected by their environment. Where do we get the proof from this from? That when the Dajjal comes, the Prophet ﷺ says in the hadith that the men will have to go home and chain their women family members up. Because they'll want to go out to that environment. What is the Dajjal? SubhanAllah, Shaykh Abdul Rahman al-Sa'adi has a nice book about the Dajjal. And he talks about something I want to bring light to for us, right? Anybody know what the Dajjal is? Heard about him, right? The greatest fitna that every prophet has always warned their people about. That we're supposed to make dua to protect us from at the end of every salat, right? You know the dua, Allaamah a'udhu bika min astaghfirullah. Sometimes you got to be in the salat to remember, right? What is it? How does it start? Allaamah a'udhu bika min adhab al-qabr wa adhab al-nar wa fitnat al-masih al-dajjal, right? So we say this every salat, right? Wa fitnat al-mahya wal-mamat. Right? We say this every salat that we're supposed to seek refuge from 4 things. Now, why is the Dajjal so big of a deal? Because the Dajjal, even though he's a being, as Shaykh Abdul Rahman al-Sa'adi said, he's also a system. He's a whole, his thing is not just him. He brings a whole system with him. right? And as the Shaykh said, that this system is already here. His system precedes his actual coming, right? The system of, the prevalence of, bad entertainment, the prevalence of nakedness and evil and music, that is in a way that has never been before, right? It's everywhere. You can almost not walk down the street and not see evil, hear evil, right? So one of the things that that we know about what's going to happen is that, as the Prophet said in this hadith, that the man is going to have to go home and chain up his women folks so they don't run to it. They're going to want to go out to the Dajjal. Most of the followers of the Dajjal will be Jews and women. Right? Jews, we know why. They love money. They love the dunya, right? But similarly, women, if they're affected like that, they'll chase after it the same way. Doesn't mean that men won't. Doesn't mean there won't be men followers of the Dajjal, but majority of them will be women.
Why?
I'm explaining it to you now. You've got to be patient. Maybe one is because they're not patient. All right? Be careful. So the reality is, like I just said, the reason why is they're more easily affected by their surroundings. They're more easily affected by a bad environment. So one of the rights of a woman over her husband is that he gives her an environment that she can flourish. You know what that means by flourish? That she can do good as a woman. You can't put the woman in the middle of the projects, right? And expect that she's going to become, Aisha radiallahu anha. And you're going to say, man, why are you talking like that? Why are you walking like, why is your jilbab funny looking? Well, I live in the middle of the projects. And all I see is evil around me all day long. So I'm going to be affected by the evil I see. You got to give her a palace if you want her to be a queen. Right? It's reality. You got to give her a palace if you want her to be a queen. So we got to think about those type of things. The environment matters. So you try your best to give her a place where she can be a good woman. Then you wonder why the wife is bad because, you got a, TV and she's watching soap operas all day long and she's talking about, what is that soap opera they watch? Love and the Restless or something, right? So now she wants to be even if it's, Arabic soap operas, Somali soap operas, whatever.
What's a soap opera?
Good, don't know about it. It's a show that talks about a bunch of nonsense in people's lives, right? What you guys today would call reality show. Right? But a soap opera is not really reality. But reality shows even worse. Because they don't give the reality of good people. They give the reality of the scum of the earth. The worst human beings on the earth is who they make reality shows out of, right? So they want you to think that that's reality. Reality is not reality. That's not a good definition because I use the same word. They want you to think that's reality, but the truth is it's not reality. Okay? So you see this lady that's on the show and she has 15 boyfriends. Whose reality is that? No, seriously. They want you to think that that's okay. That's not okay. And they see this guy, he's doing all this foul, evil stuff. And the men start thinking that that's what, no. So if you watch this, what you see is what you become affected by. Right? What you watch affects you whether you realize it or not. That's why if you are to watch something, watch good shows. Watch Earth, Watch stuff that's going to make you want to have some honor. Don't watch stuff that's going to make you want to be cheap and sell yourself and act like a foolish person, right? That's my point. And Allah knows best. But the point is, right, that intellect, Allah says that this is for the one who has intellect. And the way that they have intellect, the intellect is the one who pays attention to the reminder. The one who has intellect is the one who benefits from the admonition. If you hear the admonition day in and day out and it doesn't benefit you, that means there's something wrong with your intellect, right? And if somebody says that, there's something wrong with you, you say, you're calling me stupid? Well, something's wrong with your intellect, right? The way that you're thinking. As well, we bring, and again, it's not just about the women, but we said, right? They're deficient in their intellect at times. Why is this like this? It's not because they're deficient, because of, again, women take in more of what they see. They take it in and they understand they're affected by it so much that they can't differentiate at times. So they have to protect themselves. The woman has to what? Protect herself from seeing evil so that she doesn't try to become evil And Allah knows best. Why we got there was just me speaking about, I don't remember how we got to that point. Yeah, you have your pen out. You want me to tell you, huh? Nah. I'm not going to tell you guys. No. You want to know the rights of the woman? That's not this class. What, you want to know a few? The rights of the woman, she should be fed. Right? Fed. She has to be fed. No, I'll tell you a few since you want to know. The first right of the woman is that she should have, her right is that she should have a good environment, that you put her in a good place, safe environment, right? Her safety is of number one importance, right? 2, you have to feed her. And you have to feed her from what is known as the good food of your people, right? Let's say you live in Bosnia. Whatever the good food of Bosnian people is what she deserves to have. You can't say that, well, you know, her food, that let's say her people, they're known to eat 5 big courses of meals, right? But from your people, you eat like once a day. You have to give her what's known as good from her people, right? Her status. Feed her at her status, what's known as good. She eats vegetables. You don't eat vegetables. You just, give me a little meat, I'm good to go. You got to make sure that you provide those things. You have to clothe her. What does it mean by clothing? You have to buy her clothes every week, send her shopping No. You have to clothe her. Allaamah say basically, you clothe her with the clothes of the winter, and you clothe her with the clothes of the spring or summer, right? Doesn't mean that she said, oh, I want to go shopping. You got to give her money to go shopping. No, not that. But you have to clothe her. But then again, you clothe her with that which is considered normal amongst your people. You don't put her in a barley sack bag, right? And say, I gave you clothes. No. Is that what people wear today? Rough cotton. No, they wear nice clothes. So you give her the clothes that she will be considered respectable and nice, decent looking clothes amongst the people. But do you give her clothes that she wants to have? If the clothes, let's say she wants to wear clothes that are tight and stuff like this, and she said, but this is what my people wear. No, because then that's haram. As long as it's not haram, right? The good clothes of the people, the righteous clothing, right? As well, what did I say so far? You have to treat her good. You have to treat her good. Whatever is considered good treatment amongst the people. And again, you hear I keep saying amongst the people, because when Islam doesn't define what it is specifically, then it has to be what's known as from her people, your people, right? You say, okay, amongst your people, it's known that you spend time with them and you take them out once a week or something like that. If that's what's known amongst the good people, then you do that. Your wife shouldn't be treated as secondary nature or whatever. You have to treat her what's normally considered to be good amongst your people. Treat them good. Give them a nice living environment, right? Your house shouldn't be a one-room shack. If people are saying, oh man, what is that? Family can't come over and visit. You got a one-room shack, right? No, that's not Islam. That's why we know from the conditions of being married is that you have to have the ability to marry. Not just because you can, but you have to have the financial ability to be able to take care of her in accordance to her status. But the most important thing is that you treat them well, right? You shouldn't beat them in the face and these type of things, right? You treat them well. And this is really another class. I'm just giving you a few. Tell you something about the men? Tell you something about the men, the rights of the man? The rights of the man is that the wife should never allow into his home someone that he's not pleased with, right? The rights of the wife, she should never allow in his home someone that he is not pleased with, right? She shouldn't leave the home without his permission. This is a right, unless they have understanding, right? That he knows that she's going to go to, to her parents or whatever like that. That's cool. But it shouldn't be something without his permission. She shouldn't sleep in another home than his home, where he's not, able to find, she's not accessible to him. Some of the scholars say it's wajib for her to cook and clean for him, right? Some say it's wajib, some say it's not. Even if it's not wajib, then we say at least it makes sense, right? Even if it's not wajib, it makes sense that she cooks and makes sure that everything is taken care of. It's also a right of his that she takes care of his children, right? She has to take care of them. I'm giving you an example. It's not a class. I'm just giving some examples because it really would be something else. You guys seem really interested in this subject, actually. SubhanAllah. Maybe one day we'll actually deal with it. Maybe one day we'll actually deal with it in detail, inshallah. So we'll stop there. Just some examples. Let's be let me thought. And then one day, like I said, we can actually deal with it and look at what are the, if it's important, if people want to know it, we'll deal with it, inshallah. طيب هذا وصلى الله عليه وسلم سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك